Patriarchy.
She had an opening statement actually.
Oh,
that
really?
She wrote.
I did. I wrote.
Oh, yeah. We can. Sure,
I'd like to
we
hear it,
can
yeah.
do that.
All right. Okay. I said that I think morality should evolve with society, and I think that empathy is the foundation of a just world, and I think that Trumpism is rooted in division, cruelty, and a lack of accountability. And I think that religion is used to justify harmful and outdated beliefs, especially about women in other countries. And I don't reject the idea of a higher power, but I don't think that a text written by Bronze Age nomads should dictate modern morality. And my stance on politics is about what I believe is right and wrong based on reason and empathy. So I just would like you to consider whether it's truly moral or just convenient for maintaining power when it comes to religion.
I see.
Okay. All right. Do you have an opening statement or?
I would keep it very brief. I didn't write anything out. My perspective on religion is that I actually find it slightly delusional in most senses. I would consider myself an atheist, to keep it simple. I actually grew up in the Catholic Church. I know that's a little bit different from Christianity in some aspects, so that's totally fair. However, I think whether you're questioning or unquestioning in your belief of a God in a traditional sense, I personally find it unrealistic, and people don't question it enough. I think delusional is the best way that I can describe it. I'm interested to hear your perspectives, because in what I've learned about you, just in my research before this, I'm actually really interested to talk to you. And I am coming at this from a non-aggressive, non-argumentative way. I hope to portray that at least.
Probably going to get pretty argumentative. Just not going to lie
And
to
that's
you.
okay. That's
It's
okay.
probably going to be pretty argumentative. You had views on immigration too, right?
I had some, yeah.
Yeah.
I had some.
Let's start there.
Yeah, I
with
would like to.
immigration. One really quick thing I do want to do a quick secondary thank you to Ogle, who popped a crystal ball for us in our debate just about an hour ago. So
Do it
thank
again,
you again.
Ogle. Do it again, Ogle.
Thank you again, Ogle. I do appreciate your patronage. Let's just get into the immigration thing now. What prompted that conversation in your last appearance? So Mick, are you able to pull up the tweets? But can you go to the one that's about immigration? Do you know how to do that? So here, remember how I showed you on the other monitor, there's going to be a bunch of tweets? And how if you just minimize the Discord, can you show, here, Mick, tell me what is currently up on the monitor, please? Okay, can you minimize the Discord and tell me what you see on the monitor? And then I'll be able to tell you where to navigate to. Sorry, guys. Just Matt, thank you for the soup chat. Do appreciate it. And if you guys are enjoying the stream, like I said, $200 TTS, read is 100, TTS is 200. Do you have it? Do you have the Discord minimized? Yeah. Okay, that is definitely not. Can you just pull up the Chrome tab? So remember how it was visually before, where it was everything? No. Okay, here. Okay, just stay there. So minimize the Discord tab now, okay? No. Here, go up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go up to the Discord box.
Go up to the Discord box. And do you know how the minimize feature? Yes, okay. Now hit F11 on the keyboard. Here, actually, before you do that, no, here, hit F11 again. Okay. Click. Remember how I showed you the tweet? The tweet? No. The tweet beyond the Instagram tab, like I showed you before the stream. Yes, click on that one. Okay, go F11. No, yes, hit F11.
Boy.
Okay, and then Control Tab until I tell you we get to the right thing. Next. Okay, next. 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 What the fuck? Next.
There was quite a few.
Next. 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 I apologize to the viewers. I know this is okay. Next. There it is. Okay, this is what started the conversation as it pertains to immigration. Elon Musk on February 18th posted, haha, wow, in response to the White House posting, ASMR, illegal alien deportation flight. Scroll down a little bit on this, Mick. Scroll down. Okay, and to which you responded, you have no empathy for men, which led off to a conversation you and I had about immigration. So are you in favor of illegal immigration?
Didn't you say that morality is based around empathy?
Yes, I did.
So wouldn't that be an immoral position? Or is it just a moral position because you don't have any empathy for this group of people?
What do you mean? I said you have no empathy talking about Elon Musk just because, I mean, I'm not for illegal immigration. That's not something that I'm advocating for, but I think that posting it in that way as if it's funny to do that to people and just pick up their whole lives. I don't think that that's funny. I think it's tragic. And I understand that we have to do it, but I think that it could be done in a better way that's not immoral.
So your problem was that he was just laughing about it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do have a problem with that.
But I mean, it is kind of ironically funny, right?
How?
Well, because if you break into my house,
Right.
and then the cops come and take you out, I'm probably gonna laugh at you, right?
Okay.
Would you laugh at somebody who broke in your house and then?
I do think that's a little bit different, though.
But would you laugh at them?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, where's your empathy for them then?
Well, I think that's a little bit different because those people aren't breaking into my house to live a better life. They're breaking into my house probably for a bad reason, I would assume, anyway.
Well, I mean, it's a good reason for them.
Right.
Like their reasons for breaking into your house is they want your stuff for a materially better life, just like the immigrant, right?
Right. Well, I guess that's subjective based on scenario, but I don't think that it's right to laugh about that in particular when it comes to immigration.
So you're not for illegal immigration?
I'm not. No, well, obviously not. I mean, I don't think that it is what it is, though. You know, if we could stop it, then I think that would be great. But that's just not. I don't think that that's possible. I don't think that'll ever be possible.
What about deportations? Is that okay?
I think that depends, really, for me, morally. I think obviously criminals, that makes sense. That's been in place for a long time. But I think when it comes to kids like in the DACA program that have grown up here and have never lived like in their home country and they don't speak that language, I think that deporting them is immoral. I think that's wrong. And I understand that it's their parents' fault, you know, when they bring them over here. It's a selfish decision. But to put that on the kids kind of just seems unfair to me.
Doesn't it seem unfair to me?
It's an unfair situation all around. But
so how come, this is what I don't understand about the empathy is morality crowd. I really don't get this part. You say, well, Andrew, we really got to be empathetic towards these people and their plight. And it's like, but at the expense of me and mine. Where's the empathy towards me and mine? And then it just kind of becomes, well, their shit's worse.
right.
Right? It's like, but isn't there supposed to be empathy on both sides?
I totally think that there should be, yeah. I mean, it's really hard to pick a side when it comes to stuff like this because I agree with I agree with that. But I think that the implications for deporting somebody that's lived here for their whole life and they don't speak the language of their home country versus you having to deal with that person in a Walmart, I feel like it's a little bit of a different situation when it comes to.
Well, I
how
understand it
judgmental
sucks
is.
for them.
Yeah.
Like, I get that. They're going to have a lot of readjusting to do. You
Right.
know what I mean? But, for not every DACA recipient is under that, by the way.
No, not all of them.
But the thing is even for the ones who are, right? If you are to, this is one of the big kind of like primary problems maybe we can dive into with your empathy is morality thing. What about looking forward 30 years? So it's like right now we can be empathetic towards these people, right? That's true. But what if you send the signal that this is now okay? And so more illegals come in, have children here, understanding that, well, these kids in 20 years can make the same claim as the former DACA recipients. And now we have to make all of them citizens as well, bypassing all of the other people who are in line. Not much empathy for those people, right?
Right.
And creating now a perverse incentive for more people to come and do it. Seems like it's the least empathetic thing to do.
Well, what would your solution be then when it comes to deportation and legal immigration?
I would kick out every single illegal immigrant who was here and everybody here who wasn't a naturalized citizen.
Okay.
Gone. They have no business being in our nation. Nation is, from my perspective, it's culture, borders, language. That's how a very famous talk radio host Michael Savage used to frame it. I largely agree with that assessment. Culture, border, language.
Right.
So in this case, illegal immigrants who come in, they don't have the same culture. They often, like even at the hotel I'm staying at, half of them don't speak English, right?
Right.
And they've already violated the borders. So, like, for me, that's already criminal. So when you say things like, let's deport the criminals, I'm like, well, there they are.
Okay.
Right? They're already criminals from my perspective.
Right.
They've already broken in here. So,
When it comes to parents that come here and they have a kid here, though, and they raise that kid here, obviously they made a choice to do that. It's a selfish choice because they know that could be a possible implication. Do you still think that that's fine to?
well, the law of the land is that if you're born here, you become a naturalized citizen.
Right.
So
that's not, so that would be,
I want to repeal that.
okay.
I would like for there to be a different interpretation that says that a naturalized citizen you have to have a mom and a dad, and both of them are native to the nation, and then they have a child. That child becomes native to the nation.
Right.
I would get rid of the soil policy altogether, but that
Okay.
natural born would require your mom and your dad both be citizens of the nation, and then you become a citizen. That's like my ideal citizenship
Okay.
policy.
So when it comes to immigrants working here, do you not think that they are good for the economy? Do you think that they are harming it?
Sure, slave labor is good for the economy.
Okay. It's different.
Well, not really. So it's
It's
because they have no documentation, they can be paid under the table. They send
Right.
remittances back to their home nation, which is untaxed, right?
Okay.
Totally untaxed remittances in the hundreds and hundreds of millions. If not, I think it's billions actually that they send back in remittances, but don't quote me on that. It's at least hundreds of millions.
Okay.
They're sending back to their home nations. That's non-taxable. The employer is able to squeeze out American citizens for the jobs because now they can pay under the table.
Right.
And then they do work visa programs, but they're totally rigged.
Right.
So the work visa programs are totally rigged for various companies. The whole thing is a massive clusterfuck when it comes to that. So
Yeah.
I don't think that that's good policy. I think that you're just kind of promoting slave labor essentially by giving people perverse incentives to have people come across the border, and then they have children here, and now we have a conundrum, right?
Right.
Like, oh, what do we do now?
Well, I definitely am not advocating for slave labor. Or people getting paid under wage. I don't advocate for that. But just for an example, like, let's just say that you have a construction company and you have 100 illegal immigrants working for you. You're paying them under minimum wage, and then we deport all of them. So in what I think logically is, I don't think that these businesses would be hiring 100 American citizens and then paying them a just wage. I think that they would be spending the same amount of money but hiring less people, which would just make everything less efficient.
Then why don't we just bring everybody into the United States?
Well, I don't think that's really an argument.
It's not an argument, it's a question.
Well, I am not advocating for that. That's not.
Yeah, but why not? If it just is going to perpetually increase the GDP and it's going to perpetually increase the amount of cheap labor that businesses can get, why not just bring everybody here or bring hundreds of millions a year here?
But do you understand my point, though? Like, do you?
No, not really. You're just saying if you have a business and the business has 100 employees, right? And suddenly the business owner had to pay a fair market competitive wage, he would have less employees.
Yeah.
That seems like it's the advocation again of slave labor.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that this is how I think it would go. I don't think that these businesses would hire American citizens at the same rate and pay them
agree.
a higher wage. I think that it would.
But isn't that why we want to get rid of illegals so that businesses have to hire our citizens at a competitive wage?
But do you see how it would make things less efficient? And again, I'm not advocating for paying people below minimum wage, but unfortunately it is what it is. So just thinking about it in terms of that, would that not make it less efficient?
Yeah, so if you want to understand the implication of your argument here, what you're doing is you're advocating on behalf of rich industrialists. So if rich industrialists can pay people who are not American citizens less money to do jobs that then they make more money off their back and they don't have to actually employ the American public, they gravitate towards that. You actually have created a perverse incentive for illegals to come here, be second-class citizens, and get paid less than the normal American.
Right.
Like that seems totally like contrary to what you actually want.
Well, I'm not advocating for that. I think that just thinking about it logically, like that's how these people run their businesses. That's why they hire illegal immigrants so that they can pay them less.
Sure.
Which
People violate the law
I
all the
don't-
time in order to make more money.
Which I don't agree with, but I'm saying, like, would that not make things less efficient if you had less workers?
Yeah, yes, it would make things less efficient
Okay.
if you had less workers. But however, this could easily be applied to slavery. Ending slavery is bad because it would be less efficient because we would have less workers.
Right.
Right?
I do find a big distinction between slavery and illegal immigration, though, because those people
Yeah, but
are here by choice.
Sure,
getting
but the
paid.
consistency of the argument is the same. So that your value that you're arguing is about efficiency.
Right.
So it's like, okay, great. Yes, it is more efficient, but also here's another scenario which would also be more efficient.
Well, sure, but that's a comparison that just.
So it seems like efficiency is not really what you're trying to argue then. You must be trying to argue something else. Because if you take efficiency and you say, well
I think
this will hurt the efficiency of the business, it's like, so is taking black people out of cotton fields. That hurts the efficiency of the
Okay.
cotton field, right?
Well, in that scenario, in
Yeah.
a slavery scenario, obviously I'm not advocating for that, but I think illegal immigrants, they want to be here, they came here, they want to work, they want to make money, they're contributing to our system,
So did slaves.
but not by choice, and they're not getting paid.
That's
So
true,
there's
but
a
then
very big difference.
Then the value here must be something that's not efficiency. You must be arguing something that's not efficiency then. Because you keep on saying, well, it's less efficient. It's like, I can grant that, but
That's
then...
just an example of how I think that illegal immigration has done something good for our economy, whether I think it's morally just or not. I think that you can say that it's
I
made
agree.
things
Illegal
more,
immigration can be super helpful to the economy in some aspects, but it can also be very draining in other aspects.
Yeah.
For the instance, these people are not paying into the tax system for basic things like government subsidies for emergency care. Right, it happens in emergency rooms. California had some of the finest hospitals in the world, which were bankrupted by illegal immigrants, using them basically as the emergency room as a health facility. Right.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of net drains also that they get, including fraud for Social Security, fraud for stealing people's identities, all sorts of fraud that drains the system, not to mention remittances, which aren't taxed. So the thing is like, if you're making the moral argument based on efficiency, I think that's not what you mean. You
That
don't
was
mean
just-
efficiency. You're just pointing out an example of how they can be a boon.
Yeah, that was just.
But
an
I would just
example.
agree. I would just agree there can be cases where they definitely help the economy.
Okay.
They're just in net. Even if you made the case, and I agreed with it, that they mostly assist the economy, that's not the only dynamic of the problem we're looking at. Right?
Yeah, definitely not. That's just an example of
Yeah.
why I think illegal immigration has been good in some ways.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Go ahead.
Like specifically where I live as well.
Where do you live?
I live in Tucson.
Oh, in
So-
Arizona?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's right on the border. And obviously we have a lot of illegal immigrants.
And the people who live in the border towns hate them.
They sure do.
Yeah, they sure do. Why do you think that is?
'Cause they got there legally.
Well, because they destroy their property. They butcher their cattle. They do all sorts of horrible things to their private property. They do a lot of theft on the way over. They just loathe them. People in border towns are always demanding more and more security inside their towns. They can never get
Right.
enough. Because, I mean, you can imagine how unsettling would it be if you go out for your nice, Starbucks frappe or whatever it is in the morning, right? And it has the double shot of espresso or whatever the shit it is that girls get now. And you sit out and you're in your like little stocking, whatever, your blanket and shit, and you're on your deck and you look out and there's families of illegal immigrants crossing your backyard destroying shit.
Okay, I'm sure that has happened to someone. I've lived there for a very long time. I've never seen that happen. I've never heard of that happening. I live on the northern side, so Nogales, I think is it.
So not
that's-
the border side.
Yeah, not the border side, but Nogales, the crime rate over there is a lot higher. But I think that it's very community based. They don't really leave that. The crime stays in that area. I think it's a lot of
Which is also
cartel
bad.
crime.
It's also bad. So it's like all the arguments that you can make as a pro for illegal immigration, you just have to kind of bite the bullet that you want to concede our sovereignty, because that's what it does. It concedes our sovereignty. I cannot go to Mexico tomorrow, absent paperwork,
Right.
and work there illegally, right, and do whatever I want.
I mean, you wouldn't want to, though.
But even if there are tons of Americans who want to, especially rich ones, because of the power of the dollar versus the peso is so
Yeah.
high. If you're a multimillionaire, you go down to Mexico, you can live the high life, right?
Yeah.
Mexican government, though, they want their money. They don't want you to come into their country without sufficiently greasing the palms of the Mexican government, which then is supposed to trickle down to its citizens, whether it does or it doesn't. You can't do that with them. Why is it that we should have the expectation they can do it to us?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think that I don't think that we should just open the borders and let everyone in, but I think that you have to recognize the pros and the cons. There are both. We can't just say that illegal immigration is bad, period, because they have
Would you say?
helped the economy.
Let me ask you a question. Would you say that slavery is bad, period?
Yes.
What about the
would.
pros?
Well, the pros are very one-sided when it comes to slavery. I think illegal immigration, there can...
Nope, they're not. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
So you have two nations at war. One's an aggressor nation, much larger than the smaller one, right? And they attack, like let's say Russia attacked a smaller nation like, I don't know, Ukraine, let's say.
Okay.
Right? They attack. And the Ukrainians, during a counterattack, they're able to take over a large swath of Russia with tons of civilians who are all loyal to Russia.
Okay.
They have three options. Option A, imprison them, right?
Okay.
Option B, kill them. Or option C, let them go so that they can continue to assist their enemy in making weapons to kill your side.
Okay.
Those are your three options. Would it be more morally just to go ahead and imprison those people rather than kill them or have them run back to make weapons that were going to kill you?
It's a tough question. I think I'm not really sure what I would do in that situation, honestly.
Now, let's say you did imprison them,
Okay.
but you only got so much food and so much resources. You're fighting a war.
Right.
Is it just then to have them assist against their will
I think I would let them go.
You would let them go to assist the enemy in killing you?
I'm not. Here's the thing. I am not a war leader. I don't belong in war. I'd make bad choices because
Right.
I don't want anybody.
Because empathy.
die.
Because empathy.
Okay.
That's the thing, right? It's like, what I'm giving you is an example of if you were to have two nations, they're at war, one's an aggressor nation, attacks a smaller one.
Okay.
It seems to me like they would be totally justified if they counterattack this other nation rather than letting their men go and continue to come back and fight another day to
Right.
imprison them and then force them to work against their will.
Okay. So in that scenario, you would say that slavery is just.
Sure.
Okay.
Wouldn't you?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I would say that maybe it would have to be done, but I wouldn't be happy about it.
Well, I mean, maybe, but you're not happy to be in a war.
Well, no.
So what I'm
But-
saying is that there are just times to enslave people.
Okay.
And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't see. And so when people say, like, you got to take the pros and the cons of something, but then they make an unequivocal moral statement like there's no pros to slavery. It's like, yes, there is.
I mean, but
But there's way more cons why we shouldn't do it. I get that.
because wouldn't that just be cherry picking in a way?
Which one?
I mean, trying to find a good outcome of slavery when there are so many bad ones. Trying to find one good one just seems
Well,
like,
it's just showing that the principle is not consistent.
Okay.
So like we're just checking the consistency of the principle. So I abhor slavery, hate it. I think it's god awful.
okay.
But I still need to be consistent enough to think, is it always under all circumstances, right, that are realistic? Like you can come up with bizarre hypotheticals where it's like, would you enslave two people to save the world? Okay, fine. But that's unrealistic.
Right.
What about realistic things that happen with slavery where you're like, actually, like, if I was in that, I'd probably do that, right? And so I'm just checking for the principle, the consistency of the principle is all.
I mean, it's tough because I mean, my moral is just I don't want that to happen in general. So that would be a hard situation for me to deal with. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I guess that would be the only solution. So
Yeah, empathy does not always provide the answers.
no, it doesn't, but it can lead you down a good path, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, I think one of the other disagreements that we had when we were discussing immigration was the question of feasibility. Is it feasible to
Right.
deport the millions of illegal immigrants that are here? You had objections from an economic perspective. It's going to cost a lot to do that, and you also didn't believe it was feasible. I don't know if you have more to add to that, or Andrew. I mean, do you think that there's...
Yeah, it's totally feasible. Absolutely.
Okay.
We can deploy the United States military right to the border, orders shoot to kill.
But
I would do it
isn't-
right away tomorrow.
Wait, shoot to kill?
Oh, yeah.
The illegal immigrants?
Yeah. It's
All
our
of-
it's our no, if on
All
the
of
border,
them?
if they're trying
on
to
the
cross,
border.
yeah.
I thought the ones who are currently
no,
here.
no.
Isn't it wrong to
just
kill
chilling.
though, based in
It's
your
wrong to murder.
religion?
It's wrong to murder.
Is that not murder?
No.
Killing someone's not murder?
No, murder definitionally is the unjustified killing of someone.
Okay, so if you can justify it, it's fine.
If you have good justification for it.
Is that subjective? Can I kill anyone and justify it to myself?
Well, I
and then
would
it's fine?
consider justification. Well, I would start with the idea of what justification is,
Okay.
and then with the idea of is it an objective or subjective justification. But either way, I would be justified. So if you say, well, there is no objective morality, it's only subjective, right? And it's relative between people,
Okay.
then you really can't give me any reason why I shouldn't do that.
So, just example, somebody breaks into your house, you shoot them. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. That's justified. But you're walking down the street, you see a family of illegal immigrants, you don't like it, you shoot them all.
That's not what he was saying.
Is-
No.
He
Okay.
was saying
That
at
would be
the border,
unjustified. Yeah.
At the
if they're
border
trying to
crossings.
cross
Yeah.
illegally.
Okay.
So if they're trying to break in, just like they're trying to break into your house, I would view it the same way.
Breaking into the country.
Okay. Well, I don't have an argument against that. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So
I
Wait,
understand.
You're in favor of it? Or-
I'm not in favor of
Okay.
it. I just personally wouldn't.
Well, do you think that illegal crossings would significantly go down if the United States military was on the border and said, if you try to cross the border illegally, we open fire? Don't you think that? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then it sounds like I solved the problem
Okay.
by not using empathy.
All right. Well, then let's put that into play.
I agree. Totally.
I don't
agree.
know. I don't know if I haven't even thought of that as a solution. I don't know if that's my position, but I would agree with you insofar as, Andrew, it would be a massive deterrence.
Yes.
It would be
Yeah.
massive deterrence. Okay.
Just
if I
like
cross
nuclear
the border-
bombs.
Right.
Why do you have nukes? It's not to use them, right?
Deterrence.
It's to stop people from using them. So the idea isn't actually to send them down there with orders to shoot to kill. The idea is that because they have orders to shoot to kill, they'll never have to.
Okay.
That's the idea.
I mean, if nobody has to die,
Well, we hope. Probably some will.
okay.
Yeah. Probably some
Well,
will.
I don't think that there is a flat, simple way to fix the immigration problem. I
Pretty
feel
sure
like
that would
it's,
fix it.
That's a way, sure. I just I think that would be really hard to pass.
Yeah, that's
legally.
true. I think you're
So-
correct that it would be difficult to pass through Congress, an act of Congress which mobilized. But, well, the president's the commander in chief, though. He doesn't, I'm not sure that would be war authorization. So I think he could actually unilaterally just order the military
Didn't he
and
try to
order
do
the
that?
border states to mobilize their National Guard with orders to shoot to. I think he actually could do that.
Didn't he try to get the military over there though?
The military's there now. They just don't have orders to shoot to kill,
Right.
unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
He says, unfortunately. What do you think?
Well,
Is that unfortunate? Do you
I-
think it's unfortunate?
that they can't kill them, I don't think that that's unfortunate. I'm not advocating for the killing of anybody.
Well, it's not an advocation of, it's an advocation to make sure there is no killing. I believe in force doctrine. So the idea of 5'1" men attacking 7 foot tall, 300-pound men doesn't seem that likely to me. It seems like they
Okay.
generally won't do that, right?
Right.
So it seems like if you're a 7 foot, 300-pound, buff, yoked out dude, you're probably not going to get attacked. And the whole idea behind that is because the person is worried that if they do attack you, what happens? They get messed up real bad, right?
Right. So if this is something that Trump could do, why do you think he hasn't done it?
I just don't think that he would be able to justify it politically,
Okay, why though?
because I think that there would be an outcry, a general outcry against it, and it could stress his powers. I think it could be argued that this. I'm not sure on this, right? But it could possibly be argued as you would need congressional authorization for this because of some reason. Possibly they could defund it, or there's any number of different reasons, or there could be some type of humanitarian crisis that it could be presented as that would cause a bunch of problems for him. So there might be a bunch of practical reasons, but I don't think that there's anything morally wrong with taking your army, putting it on your border, and telling people who try to cross that border that there's going to be dire consequences if they do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's totally reasonable. It's within the confines of reason. It's logical. It seems within force doctrine, it would actually prevent more crossings and it would prevent more deaths ultimately.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a solution, my own solution when it comes to immigration. I think that topic is far too complicated for me, and I don't know enough about how things work or politics to really come up with a solution. But
I think the only other disagreement we had pertaining to that was that there were flights. They were flying the immigrants in. You thought that this was dubious, that there was no evidence of it. You didn't think this was actually a thing. I don't know if you still think that's the case, but
I still think
there were in fact flights flying
hundreds
in
of thousands.
illegal. And I don't know the precise number, but there were
Yeah,
flights.
have you ever heard of the migrant caravans?
The what now?
Migrant caravans?
I have heard of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's tens of thousands of people whose entire objective was to go through South America and Mexico, collecting as many people as possible in order to break into the country at a single point, make a political statement. The Democrats assured them that they would have hotel rooms that they would be taken care of. They actually had Democrat liaisons who went to South America and would coach these migrant caravan leaders. It was a big clusterfuck, but yeah.
What we were talking about is, I think it was hundreds of thousands of immigrants being flown over into New York, and why would they do that?
Because it switches voting demographics.
But they can't vote.
Well, that's funny that you should mention that, but I'm not going to get into that on YouTube because of the terms of service. But the thing is they can't work either, but they work, right?
Right. But voting is you need a social.
You're supposed to need a social to work.
Okay, but to sign up to vote, though, how do you do that without social?
You take your fake ass social that you got out of. So what happens is, here's what people do. They go to a cemetery, okay? Well, maybe they don't physically go, right? But what they do is they look through obituary records for somebody, like, let's say your name is Javier Juarez, right? And you're roughly 25 years old. And so you go through the obituaries and you find somebody whose name is like, I don't know, Rodrigo something or another, and he's 22, right? And he has roughly the same types of features that you do, right? You can apply, get a death certificate, you get the death certificate, and then you can manipulate that in such a way to get a birth certificate. You take the birth certificate down to the Social Security office, say, I lost my Social Security card. They give you back your Social Security card. Then you go get a normal, real state ID. You have now assumed somebody else's identity.
Are there statistics that show how many people that have passed away have voted in this last election?
The problem is, right, is like they wouldn't count them as passed away, because this is an active person who's not dead, right?
But they did die, though.
Yeah, they did die, but that doesn't mean that they've been officially counted, one. And two, when you're talking about the assumed identification, they're also going to be counted as a living person. You can have conflicting records inside of record-keeping apparatuses, and this happens often. Now, how many there are? Liberals will tell you that there's very few cases like this, but it's very, very difficult to determine how many there actually are of cases like this. Very difficult because they've already assumed the identity. The person is dead.
Okay.
Right? But it happens a lot more than people let on.
Well, it's one of those things. I'm sure it happens, and I'm sure it's happened, but there's no stats on it. There's no way to get stats on it, so it's hard for me to.
Though there is a way to get a stats on this.
Okay.
That every single year, 1 million legal immigrants come into the United States.
How many illegal immigrants do you think are here?
I think probably 5 or 6 times the estimate that they say.
Okay, what do they say the estimate is?
Brian would have to pull it up officially.
It's 11
Couple
million.
of million.
11 million.
Yeah.
No. So Mick, in the StreamYard, it's in the actual browser. Do you see where it says private chat? It's on primary monitor. It's on your primary monitor. It's selected. Do you see where it says private chat? No, hold on. So just switch this back to comments. Do you see that comments tab? No. Okay. Yeah, we're on private chat. Look, 4 up, it says comments. Hit there. Okay. Now, here, I'm going to pull this up. I don't think it pertains to how many illegal immigrants are in the country, but this is from homeland.house.gov. So this is Department of Homeland Security, I believe. This is their source. Hold on one sec, guys. I'm multitasking a dozen different things here. So, Mick, I'm going to have you scroll down just a little bit. New documents reveal airports used by Secretary Mayorkas to fly hundreds of thousands of inadmissible aliens into U.S. via CHNV mass parole scheme. Scroll down.
What's CHNV mean?
Scroll down. Washington, D.C. Today, the House Committee on Homeland Security revealed documents obtained through subpoena of the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, that identified over 50 airport locations, including our nation's capital, used by DHS to help process into the country more than 400,000 inadmissible aliens through the administration's unlawful Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, and Venezuelan mass parole program. The program was officially launched in January 2023, and the documents obtained by the committee cover the period from January to August, accounting for roughly 200,000 of these individuals. According to these documents, as of mid-October 2023, there were 1.6 million inadmissible aliens awaiting travel authorizations through this program. Scroll down quite a bit more. Keep going. So according to these documents, scroll down. The top 15 airport stop. The top 15 airport locations used for the program and the number of inadmissible aliens who flew into a port of entry between January, August 2023 were Miami, 91,000, Fort Lauderdale, 60,000, New York City, 14,000, Houston, 8,000, Orlando, 6,000, Los Angeles, 3,000, Tampa, 3,000, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Scroll down a bit. The other airports used for the program, okay, that's fine. And I mean, that's pretty much it as it relates to the flights.
Yeah, and you can point out too that there was a time period here during C-19 when COVID was going on, right, where most of the ballots were mail-in.
Right.
And the mail-in ballot system is like the worst fucking idea ever conceived by man because the proofs there were very slight to have those votes counted. So having thousands of unsecured ballot locations, right?
Yeah.
They can definitely participate in the political process, whether they are supposed to or not.
Okay.
So those are the arguments, I guess, there.
Do you have a position on this at all, or?
I don't think I have anything to contribute that hasn't already been said.